saying if I could see it, I could hit it. He was an excellent shot with his hunting rifle. Okay? But the musket, the soldier's weapon, is not rifled. Okay? So the barrel of these weapons is basically a pipe. Now, if you shoot an unpatched ball out of a smoothbore weapon, the ball is going to rattle down the barrel. And whatever end it strikes on the muzzle as it exits, the ball is going to go the opposite direction. So to prevent that from happening, soldiers would be issued paper cartridges. So this would have the ball and powder rolled up in a paper tube. Okay, and the paper is the wadding. Okay, this will help prevent the ball from bouncing down the barrel, giving us a straight shot. Of course, the paper is going to burn off. Okay, now because these are not rifled, the ball is just flying out there. After about 75 to 100 yards, the ball is going to begin to turn like a knuckleball does in baseball. Up, down, left, right. We don't know where it's going to go. Okay, so if we hit anything beyond that range, it will be by pure luck. Okay, now to make up for the inaccuracy of this weapon is why we would have the men in a line standing elbow to elbow, and we would all fire together at once in mass volleys. Okay, doing that, we're going to hit more of the enemy on the field. But the enemy's doing it to us, same thing. So the battlefield at this time is about speed of loading. And that is why we use the musket over the rifle. Okay? Now, a lot of men on the frontier who had their hunting rifles fighting this war, they're showing up with that weapon. They use them with pretty good effect against the Mexican army. The majority of us are using these smoothbore weapons. Again, we're firing in volleys to strike more of the enemy on the field. And the thing is warfare at this time is speed of loading. Now, the downside of rifled weapons, because they're muzzle loaded, is pushing that powder ball down the barrel. Well, because of the rifling inside that barrel, it takes about a minute to load it. You got to pound that ball in there. Okay, so it takes about a minute, which was way too long in the battlefield. Okay, but the soldier with the musket, because it's not rifle, we can load these faster. He has to load this in 20 seconds. Okay, so we're going to get 3, possibly 4 shots a minute with smoothbore musket compared to 1 with a rifled weapon. And the battlefield is speed of loading. If you can fire more lead at the enemy, you're going to drive them off and take the field. That was more important than accuracy. Okay? Now, the morning of this battle, we know that all the men inside these walls had their own personal weapon that they had brought with them, but up to 4 muskets loaded next to them that morning. So they're just grabbing and firing as quick as they could. Okay? But we've got to know how to load it. So we have to know the 12-step military drill of loading. So we're going to start the men at order arms. I'm going to tell them to shoulder arms. Now, this would be the most common way of carrying a weapon on the march. And if you are infantry in the line, the weapon goes on the left shoulder. Now, we're going to tell the men to load in 12 times. Load. Open, pen. Handle, cartridge. Now, as I said before, the cartridge is a paper tube. It's got ball and powder rolled up in it. Okay, now these are crimped over. The only way we can open this is to tear cartridge. They would bite off the end of it, spit it out, and prime. So they pour gunpowder into the pan, and then tell them to shut pan and cast about. Charge cartridge. They're going to pour that remaining gunpowder down the barrel. And with the ball and the paper, they wad it up and stuff it into the muzzle. And we've got to drive it to the breech. So tell them to draw ramrod and ram cartridge. So they sling it in, pack it tight, return ramrod. And then shoulder, arms. They bring the weapon up to the left shoulder.